British food does not have a very good reputation, but the British public is mad about cooking programmes, and many TV chefs are famous celebrities.
Yes, and one programme that's been very popular recently is a competition for amateur bakers to show off their baking skills. And sales of baking equipment has gone up 15% as British people head into the kitchen and bake. So for this week's podcast on English.com, we're talking about baking.
Right, Jackie. Baking, that's just cooking in the oven, isn't it?
Yes, that's right, yes.
What about roasting?
Roasting is in the oven, but you're using oil.
Ah, so cooking in the oven, but without oil.
Yes.
Right. I must admit, I did see the programme and I thought there'd be only a few things that they would be having on the programme, cooking in an oven. But there were loads, weren't there?
Yes, I mean, there's loads and loads and loads of things that are covered by baking. But I think you can break it down into three main categories. Number one is bread.
And then number two is cakes.
And number three, perhaps the biggest category, which is pastry. So for the bread, Richard, I suppose it really means big loaves or smaller ones, buns.
Yes, bit boring. I much prefer cakes myself, and you've done quite a few cakes, haven't you?
Cakes can also be large or small. Small ones, cupcakes. Never made those.
I suppose brownies as well, they're very popular, but we don't make those, do we?
No, I think the most popular thing in the house at the moment is chocolate cake.
Delicious.
And I think, Richard, actually, of all the different kinds of baking, it's cake making that you like the most, isn't it?
I don't like the most. I find it easier. So I've made a carrot cake, walnut cake, and I think a banana cake.
Yes, and very nice they are too. And I suppose, Richard, I'm more into the pastry making, aren't I? Things like pies and tarts.
Yes, of course, the pies are savoury and tarts sweet, yes?
No. Pork pies, for example, are savoury, aren't they?
Yes, one of my favourites.
But what did I make only the other day? I made an apple pie.
Of course, yes. Apple pie.
So they can be both sweet and savoury.
Yes.
Lemon meringue pie.
Lemon meringue pie, you made that delicious.
And tarts, Richard, can also be sweet and savoury.
Well, I know the sweet ones. You've made a lemon tart, haven't you? That was very nice.
And what do we often have for lunch?
Of course, the savoury tart, the quiche.
The quiche. I like to think I make quite a nice quiche. We have those for lunch.
So what's the difference then between pies and tarts then?
Well, in general, Richard, the pie has pastry on the bottom and on the top. It's a covered thing.
Right.
Whereas a tart is open. It's an open pie. There's just pastry on the bottom.
I never really thought about that.
But it's interesting, Richard, that we are the pie team, right?
Podcast in English, yes, the pie team.
This is the first time we've done a podcast about pies.
Maybe not the last.
No, I'm going to put my pinny on and head into the kitchen.